Hello everyone, this is Dante with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're gonna have a look at the new event that started in Raid Shadow Legends, Chaos Awakes. As you can see from the Bastion, demons have entered Teleria. And we have new champions, a mythical, a couple of, or 4 to be exact, legendary champions. I think 1 epic and 1 rare. To be honest, I already made a preview of the event a couple of days ago, but I lost all the footage and I didn't have the time to record it again, so I just waited for it to be live in the game to talk about it. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video if you enjoyed it. First of all, I want to say a big congrats to my clan because we had a great win today in CVC. We got every single reward in this personal CVC, and I also got one mythical relic from it, the cardiac heart. So this was a good day. Let's have a look at all the parts of the event one by one. First of all, the fusion began today. Thol in Foulbird. He looks amazing as usual. Perm did a great job with the visuals. I'm sure you have already seen his skill set. He's a very interesting damage dealer with a very interesting passive. Activates Demon Breaker, his A1 skill, every 5th turn of this champion. And also enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, bosses and minions cannot land a critical hit on this champion. So he could be very interesting, especially in PvP with his meta and maybe some bosses. Although even not critical, bosses can really hurt you really bad. But personally, I'm going to try to get him because he looks amazing and he will be real fun, I think, in PvP. It's a traditional fusion, so you need to collect all the rares, fuse the rares to the epics above, and fuse all the epics to get the legendary. Here we have the calendar for the fusion. It's a traditional fusion, as we said. You can get an extra epic in tomorrow's Summon Rush, this Friday. So if you want to make your life easier, just go for the epic, or you have to do every single event from start to finish, and this will be really difficult, especially if you take into account that you have to farm the event dungeon as well. I won't get into too much detail for the fusion. It has nothing special compared to others, in my opinion. The only advice I give most of the time is try to double dip or triple dip your points. For example, we have Dungeon Divers event, Spider Tournament, Champion Training Tournament at the same time. So personally I can actually solo with Marius Spider Hard 10. So I can actually upgrade champions. So I work towards Champion Training Tournament, I work for Spider Tournament, and I work for Dungeon Divers event at the same time. You try to do this as much as possible. For example, Ice Golem and Dungeon Divers event. Dragon Tournament is again with Champion Training event. You can solo Dragon with many champions these days. And Fire Knight with Dungeon Divers in the last part of the event. So try to plan ahead and try to earn points for at least 2 events at the same time. Next big thing and most important thing for this event is the event dungeon, which gives us pinpoint gear set, which is one of the most important and most powerful gear sets in the game. So even if you can't do stage 30, you should always try to get to at least stage 20, which shouldn't be too hard, and farm it as much as possible. For this dungeon, it is actually pretty straightforward up to stage 27, because the minions don't do anything special, but from stage 28 and above, you need to actually change your team, try to not have buffs, so the team I used so far can do nothing basically. They die instantly because of Volcanos. I didn't have the time to actually fight it yet, but after this recording is done, I will give it a shot and make a team for stage 30. But don't do this mistake and avoid doing the event dungeon, because you should take into account that many high-end accounts don't even do the fusion and will just spend all their energy on this to farm this dungeon for the pinpoint gear set. It is very important, so try to farm it as much as possible. Next, we have for the next 4 weeks basically the Coalitioon Event. Here in the Coalitioon Event we can earn points personally, which is this bottom bar. Here, as you can see, we have a lot of resources, but the most important ones are of course the Twisted Horns, from epics to legendaries to even the last ones mythical, so you're guaranteed to get one legendary, or if you're lucky, mythical relic. You have 2 chances with legendary material to craft a good relic, and you have a couple more epics. It is very important to try and get to the end of it and have yourself craft a good legendary or a mythical relic. They are very strong, they are meta, and as you saw from today where we won the CVC, I won a mythical relic and it will help me very much in PvP especially. Now on the bar above, here is the Coalitioon Event points for the whole community. So the more we can get, the more points we can get, the more rewards we will get as a whole. Here we have the top 100 players. As you can see, the first, of course, this will be Kraken area, is not for everyone, but as you can see, the first one we have a guaranteed mythical relic, the second and third a guaranteed legendary, and of course the top 10 will have a personal avatar. Now, how we earn points? We have some repeated quests and some limited quests. As you can see, limited quests won't change and can be completed throughout the event's duration, so throughout the 4 weeks. So you can plan and do them as you can see fit, as it may collide with the fusion if you're going for it, or other events. So take a look at them and don't forget to do everything, of course. Now, the Kraken area, whale area of this Coalitioon Event is the repeated quests, where you have to, you can just repeat the quest again and again and get more points for yourself and get to these top 100 players. So you spend 140 energy in non-gear dungeons, so you can actually spend as much energy as you can possibly buy basically. Win 12 battles in any arena mode, so you can actually play as much arena as you can and earn as many points as you can, and as you get more points, the more times you actually repeat the quests. So this is basically, the more money you spend, the more points you will get. It is as easy as that. Personally, of course, I have no dreams of the top 100 players, but I'm going to really try to get to the end of these rewards and get the mythical ones, so I can get another guaranteed legendary, or if I'm lucky, a mythical relic. They are very important, and I'm always trying to get as many of the material to craft them as possible. Next, let's have a quick look at the champions that were introduced. First of all, the mythical one, Kurosa, the Coventus. She's one amazing looking mythical champion. And a very difficult boss. As far as we know right now, the only way to get her will be through shards. Maybe they will have a 10x or 15x chance for her, but nothing more, I would guess. On her first form, she's basically a support champion, and on her second form, she's a very hard nuker. Let's take a look at her skills. With her A1, attacks all enemies, heals all allies. The value of the heal is proportional to this champion's attack. You will build her for attack because her second form actually hits very hard. With her A2, removes all debuffs from all allies, then places a 50% increased attack buff and a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of shield is proportional to this champion's attack. So as you can see, when you actually face her as a boss, even if you put as many debuffs on them as you want, she will just cleanse them. With her A3, places a taunt buff and 25% fortify buff on this champion for 2 turns. Also places an unkillable buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Let's see what fortify is. Is it at the end? Fervor, fortify. It reduces any enemy ignored defense effects by 15 or 25%. So it is actually really strong to help her stay alive. And her passive receives 15% less damage for each alive ally. And the active effect instantly transforms the champion into their alternate form whenever the last living ally is killed. So if everybody dies, she changes form. It is somewhat like Sync Fruit, but she also can change just by taking a turn. So it is not just passive like Sync Fruit. Now when she actually changes to her nuker form, A1 attacks one enemy 3 times. If this attack kills an enemy, deals pure damage to all other enemies. If other enemies are not bosses or minions, the amount of pure damage dealt is equal to 30% of the initial target's max HP. If the other enemies are bosses or minions, the pure damage dealt is equal to 10% of their max HP instead. This attack cannot be critical. We should not forget that pure damage means that it will ignore every single passive, every single defense or anything. It will just pure damage as the word is saying. A2 attacks all enemies. Before attacking, steal all buffs from all enemies. Target whose attack is lower than this champion attack cannot resist this effect. Also places a 25% weakened debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Targets whose attack is equal or lower than this champion attack cannot resist this effect. So if you build her with a great attack, she will just basically kill everyone. Ruthless Agent A3 places a 50% shatter buff and 30% increased critical rate buff on this champion for 3 turns. Places a True Fear debuff on enemies for 1 turn. Targets whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion attack cannot resist this effect as per usual. Shatter buff, let's see what this is. Increases the champion's ignore defense effect by 7.5 or 15%. So basically she gets more ignore defense for herself. She can change form to the base, of course. Deals 50% more damage for each dead ally. Each critical hit boosts this champion turn meter by 10% for each dead ally. So basically, when you face her as a boss, you kill every one of her minions. She changes form. She basically steals all your buffs, nukes you. She will hit harder because everyone is dead. She will take turn meter. So you won't be able to survive, that is for sure. But I can't wait to play with her and use her in PvP, to be honest, or even in PvE. She will be an amazing champion. Although she will be a horrific boss. Let's see some other champions. We have Balar the Lost, legendary champion from the Sylvan Watchers. On his A1, attacks on enemy. Before attacking, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. This value of the shield is proportional to this champion attack. Also has a 50% chance of placing 25% poison sensitivity for 2 turns. Pretty good A1, seems powerful. A2, attacks on enemy, has basically 100% chance of placing a lich debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies. Very good, we like poison activators. A3, attacks on enemy. Before attacking, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also has a 100% chance of placing decreased resistance buff on all enemies. Places 3 poison debuffs on the initial target for 2 turns. And if it is critical, places 3 poison debuffs for 2 turns on all enemies instead. So you can build him for damage, 100% critical rate, and he will just put 3 poison on all enemies. And we already have a blessing that make poisons much stronger, and a relic that make poisons and poison damage much stronger, as we saw with Calvalax, for example, in PvP this past couple of weeks. His passive increases this champion ignore defense effect by 1% for each poison debuff instantly activated by this champion. Stacks up to 20%. Fill this champion turn meter by 5% whenever a poison debuff is placed on an enemy. Very good passive. I don't know yet what his multipliers are, but he could be very good damage dealer. Here we have Gracchos Turn-drake. Again, an amazing design from Plarium. HP champion. On his A1, attacks one enemy, will ignore 25% of the target's defense. Heals all allies with less than 50% HP by 10% of this champion max HP. He has a very good base HP, and you will build him with pretty much we will build him with very high HP, since he is an HP nuker, so the heal will be actually pretty good. So great A1. A2, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit will ignore 25% defense against targets with less than 50% HP. The first hit has a 100% chance of placing decreased defense debuff on each enemy for 2 turns. The second hit has a 100% chance of placing block buffs debuff on each enemy for 2 turns. Each hit will ignore 25% resistance against target with less than 50% HP. This is an okay A2. It will depend again on the multipliers, if he can actually hit hard enough. But he places decreased defense by himself, so he may be hitting pretty well if he has good multipliers. A3, with his A3 places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. and block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn. This is a pretty nice A3 and 3 turn cooldown, so he will be a pretty good champion for progression for sure, and if he hits very well, even for endgame. Let's see his passive. If an ally has more than 50% HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally deals 10% more damage. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuffs placed by this champion, that ally receives 10% less damage. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. So this is an okay passive. Relatively easy to make it happen since he has buffs and debuffs on himself with A2 and A3. He is a bit slow, but he has more crit damage, good HP. So if the multipliers are okay, we have a very nice HP damage dealer for the demon spawns. Next we have the epic from Skinwalkers for the fusion. He's a defense type, let's see. A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. It is an okay A1. A2 places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except the champion for 2 turns. Also places a counter attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. 4 turns cooldown. Could be 3 turns, but it is okay. A3 attacks all enemies. Has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be resisted if the champion defense is lower than the target's. Places 13% reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. A damage based on defense. An okay again A3. And he has a passive. Whenever an enemy attacks an ally under ally protection buff, has a 50% chance of placing provoke debuff on this attacker for 1 turn. So he's an okay champion, epic champion. Nothing too special I would suggest, to be honest. But he's not completely trash. So if you get him relatively early to mid game, you could possibly use him for progression or faction wars, for example. And we have a void rare from Sylvan Watchers, yes. Attacks one enemy with his A1, has a 35% chance of placing 25% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Small version of decreased accuracy. A2 attacks all enemies, 50% chance of placing the full version of heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So if you need the heal reduction, you get it from a rare champion, so that's okay. A3 places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn. Fills the 10 meter of all allies by 15%. So this is an okay A3. It's a 4 turns cooldown, so it is not that great. He could be 3 turns and that would make him an actually good 10 meter field champion. By no means are the epic or rare worth to keep and miss the legendary, of course. If you can go for him, go. If you don't want to go for the fusion, just spend all your energy on the event dungeon and get as much pinpoint gear set as you can get. Apart from this event, of course, we had a couple of buffs. One of my favorite champions in the game actually got a buff, Mountain King. Now with his A1, he fills the champion turn meter by 10%, fills an additional 2% for each buff on the target. Pretty nice A1. With his A2, he used to just ignore 50% of the target's defense and hit really hard. Now he grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Amazing change, very much needed. With his A3, he used to ignore block damage. Now he ignores shield, strengthen, attunable, ally protection and block damage buffs. Decrease the cooldown of the enchanted axe skill by 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. So you can go back to back and actually kill two enemies at the same time. It is very good change. Also, his speed was improved from 85 to 95. He was one of the slowest champions in the game. But what makes Mountain King special is his HP. He has by far the highest base HP of all champions. So if you can actually build him really well, he can smack every champion he gets across. Mine is built in bolster set. He was built a couple of years ago. It's not a new build. But as you can see, the change on his base speed actually helped a lot. He's now 277 speed, very strong. He has 142,000 HP, again, very good. But to be honest, in this meta, bolster set is not that strong to be fair. So I want to try him in a full merciless gear, 9 piece, so we can get extra chance for an extra turn, 30% chance to decrease a random skills cooldown, more attack, more ignore defense, more speed, everything. I will build him and try him in live arena either today or tomorrow. He was one of my favorite champions in the game. I used to have a lot of fun in arena a couple of years ago with him, so I would really like to put him back in my teams. And this change actually made it possible, I think. But we have to try him first. Another buff we had, Dark Elves, one of the worst champions in the game, Blind Seer, got a small buff, so now she's just an average Void champion instead of completely trash, to be honest. She has basically 100% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 10%, 3 hitter, so 30% the turn meter decrease. Useful A1. So if you go to Secret Order, there is a common, uncommon champion. They decrease the turn meter by 30% if this attack is critical. Much easier to get than this Void legendary. So the change just made her be equal to an uncommon champion. On her A2, she used to place block debuffs and a shield. Now she also heals all allies by 20% of the champion max HP. Still, she doesn't cleanse, so it is still an unfinished skill for me. She should just cleanse, heal and place block debuffs, and then she would be a Void champion. And now she used to revive all dead allies with less HP, no turn meter and block damage. Now they have 50% HP and some turn meter, again not that much. 30% is not that great of turn meter. You're still gonna get lapped by the opponents, so that's why I think she's still a very average Void champion. The only redeeming thing about her is that she's one of the fastest champions in the game, with her base speed at 150. So that's it for today and the beginning of the Chaos event, Chaos AWAKES event. I don't know how many of you will go for the fusion. I suggest most people, if you can get him, because he has a very interesting skill set and passive that may be needed in the future, and he seems just fun in general. The Coalitioon event is very important for me, just for the relics, the potential to get mythical and legendary relics, so I will give as much as I can to get them. And of course, and the most important thing, the event dungeon, don't forget to farm it as much as possible. If you like PvP, if you don't like PvP but you want to get better at it, you do need pinpoint gear. It will make you faster, it will make you have the intercept buff, so you can avoid getting shipped or any other debuff. It is very strong in these days meta, so do it as much as possible. Most people will be able to do stage 20. The minions are just epics, not that great, so you can just kill them and just survive the boss basically. And at stage 20 I think most people will be able to survive it. Stage 30 is another story. I will try my best to have some teams completed in the next few days to try and beat it. One of the most important champions that will be useful I think in this dungeon is Carnage. If you have him already, you will use him because he has a blocked passive skills that cannot be removed. So if you put it on Volcanos, then you can actually stay alive and try to beat stage 30 as fast as possible. So that's it for today. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video if you enjoyed it. And comment below, what do you think of this new event? Do you like it? Will you go for the fusion? Until next time, take care.